If death is the only thing that is promised, what would stop me from making this video? Absolutely nothing. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, my groove-tastic people. It is your boy, The Don, and we are making some more groove-tastic moves. It is February the 23rd. It is 8:45 this evening on a Sunday, and we are doing numbers. Good job, Larry. Today, I thought about something that just made life more meaningful for what I'm trying to do in today's time. For what I believe we're all trying to do. Where do we learn? Where do we build? What are we going to do in order to get ourselves to the next step? So I was watching this show called Unlocked. It's on Netflix. Really, really awesome show. This is a 7-episode series about a jail unit experiment on inmates that are basically just cold-blooded killers. Killers as in capital murder, rapists, burglary, drugs, people who really do some real hard crimes. They're in the penitentiary, and basically they're in this transfer unit that either they're about to get out of jail, or either they're waiting trial to go to jail, go to a penitentiary. They're about to go serve some real sentences. The story takes place in Little Rock, Arkansas. The sheriff thought of an idea to take these inmates, instead of putting them on 23-1, so they're in their cell for 23 hours, and they only get free time for 1 hour. And they realized how much it just became a dog-eat-dog world. Like, I could give an example. What would happen if you put a dog behind its cage, and the only time he ever got out was to go play? And maybe even if that, and then the only time he gets any playtime, he's around other dogs. But more than likely, that dog is going to be pretty vicious, isn't it? It's going to want to hurt. It's going to want to harm. Or if that dog is constantly being beat on before he gets into his cage, and then he's just in his cage all day, you think that dog is going to be nice with other dogs? I don't think so. And it's just like human nature. That's exactly what the experiment was. They realized that there were more killings and more homicides that were going on in prison. People were having more shanks. People were actually really just killing people. And it was causing more harm than it was creating justice in the system. So this sheriff thought of this experiment to let the inmates basically open the doors. Open the doors, take the deputies out of the room, and just let the inmates do as they please. They ended up getting rewarded. Actually, they ended up being able to have free calls, being able to have free visits, or 2 visits a week or something like that. But I don't want to give up too much tea, because if I give up too much tea, then you're not going to go watch it. Go on Netflix, go watch that out, go check that out. And if you've already seen it, put it down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about it. Or if you even thought about the preference of how it would be if the justice system was to take away from the 23-1, having people on full-blown lockdown, or just going into a community-based place, basically community, in order to stop violence or stop the community from getting so deadly with each other. Let me know what your thoughts is. Put them down in the comments. But it was a really good series on how human nature in the jail unit. I was asking my wife this. I said, man, what is so hard about everybody just creating confrontation? And I noticed that one of the big confrontational things was a person saying one thing and doing a whole nother thing. So this is what raises the topic of accountability. Accountability is hard nowadays. It's hard for a person to take accountability on themselves because they realize that if they take accountability on themselves, they realize that what I'm really doing could be wrong. Wow. Why am I wrong for doing this? And I always realize when people point fingers, you point one finger, you got 7 pointing right back at you. Sometimes people are not ready for their own lives. Sometimes people are not ready to take on their own responsibilities. People don't like being talked about, but people love talking about people. That's my own idea on accountability. A person always wants to say, why is my life like this? God, why did my life turn out like this? Why did I ended up doing that? Why ended up doing this? Why did I end up marrying this person? Why did I end up taking this job? Why did I end up buying this car? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Why? Blah, blah, blah. You chose that. You chose that. That was your decision. Don't blame God for something that He gave you free will about. Don't blame outside people expecting them to take on the responsibility of yourself. These are your choices. These are your decisions. These things you decided to do behind closed doors and expected the world or the laws not to come back. There are things that a person, like I said, can't even look themselves in the mirror and talk about because they're afraid. So they rather indulge. I rather silence the outside. I rather just not hear the voices. I rather just not focus on what is really the reason, what is really the problem. I'd rather not focus on it. I'd rather not do it because it's just too much on the mind. It's just too much. I don't want to do it. And then they end up going and choosing choices that always put them in a very bad position. And then they wonder why my life is like this. Why is my life the way like this? There are some choices that are inevitable. There are some decisions that don't have your consent in order to make. Now that's different. That's a trial and error in itself. You're stronger than that. You have the ability to change that experience to make sure that it's a lesson learned and to do something better than you ever knew you possibly could. It may be inevitable, but that choice isn't always going to be the determining factor on how you end up in your life. You're stronger. Be stronger. There is supposed to be a reason on the other side. Now, that's a choice that is pretty hard to make. But the choices that you can make, we make our own decisions. We have our own thoughts. And if you choose to make these decisions the right way, who's to say that your right way will go the right way? That's only of the belief upon yourself. It could be my own personal opinion. It could be my own thought process. Who's to say that I'm right? But also, who's to say that I'm wrong? The decision is in your choice, the choice that you make. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing nobody can take from you. Are you willing to make the choices? And are you willing to learn from the decisions that you make? That's the real question. Enjoy yourself. Listen to that choice you made. And be honest with yourself. A man's word holds ground to anything you say, but actions speak louder than words. Y'all be smooth like water out there in these streets, because it's another day to get it right and another day to do numbers. Y'all be smooth. Peace.